Dirtle Magic. Hello and welcome back. You can follow our post on Twitter and Facebook at DirtleMTG to stay up to date on our latest videos and other posts, and you can join a more robust discussion about Casual Commander at our blog, thedicebag.blog. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this content to help the channel and the blog grow. Another way you can support the channel, though, is through our affiliate links in the description below. If you're looking for single sealed product or gaming accessories to protect all of that glory, please consider clicking the links in the description. Now, grab some spells, it's time to dirtle. Welcome to the streets of Capenna. We're on, patrol. Yeah, patrol. We'll do that. With Ognis the Dragon's Lash. Some suspicious looking characters giving us the side eye of disrespect across the street there are Darien, Giada, I suppose, and Cormela. Darien wins the die roll and drops a plains. A Soul Ring follows it down, and they pass their turn. The Font of Hope drops their own plains and passes. Cormela plays Xander's Lounge into play tapped. I drop a mountain on my turn and cast the Tin Street Dodger. I go to combat and swing with the Goblin into the Darien player, dealing first blood and 1 damage. Darien's turn sees another plains to play. Veteran Armor Smith is then cast, and they pass. Another plains comes down for the Angel player, and they cast their commander, the Font of Hope. Cormela drops a Dragonskull Summit and passes. I draw Chatterfang on my turn. I play a Riveter's Overlook, and it's sacrificed for a swamp. I move to combat, this time sending the Goblin into the Giada player. I activate its ability to only be blocked by defenders, and deal 1 damage to that player. Over to Darien, and plains hits the field. They cast the Spear of Heliod, and move to combat. They swing the Armor Smith into the Angel player, and they take 3. Darien taps their remaining lands, and passes. Over to the Font of Hope, and they play a land, and cast a Pearl Medallion. They move to combat, and swing their commander into Darien, who takes 2. At the end of turn, Cormela casts Otherworldly Gaze to essentially, but not quite literally, surveil 3. The turn moves to the Cormela player, and they cast a Sign in Blood, drawing 2 and losing 2 life. A Cascade Bluff hits the field, and they pass the turn. I draw a Tome of Legends on my turn, and drop a Snow Forest. I then cast Chatterfang, the Squirrel General. 2 attacks, and I swing the Dodger into the Cormela player, and they take 1. Back to Darien, and a land is played. They cast their commander, the King of Keldor, but it is countered with a Mana Tithe out of the Angel player. In combat, the Armor Smith is swung again into the Angel player, and they take 3, going to 33. 2 the Font of Hope, and a plains is put into play. Angel of Destiny hits the field, and that slightly worries me. 2 attacks, and the Angel player swings into the Darien player, dealing 2, and the Angel of Destiny triggers. Cormela's turn sees Discovery cast to actually surveil 2 this time, and they draw a card. They play Cabal Coffers, and pass. My turn gives me some painful truths on my turn, like how my deck hates giving me lands. I cast it anyway, and draw a Forest, Haunted Ridge, and Ravenous Squirrel. I drop the Ridge, and then cast the Squirrel. Moving to combat, I swing the Dodger at Darien and Chatterfang at the Cormela player, and damage is good to each opponent. Darien's turn sees another land, and a full tap out on mana to suspend a Banalish commander where X equals 5. They pass the turn. 2 the Font of Hope, and they likewise have another land into play. This is followed by Sigarda's Splendor. They go to attacks, and Giada is swung into the Darien player, and the Angel of Destiny unfortunately comes at my face. I can't block, and damage is good everywhere. However, I gain the 6 life back thanks to the Angel triggers, while the Giada player gains 8 life from the triggers, going to 43. Darien just takes regular commander damage. Back to Cormela, and Island lands on the table. They cast their commander, and pass the turn. My turn gives me a Nature's Claim. I play a Forest, and cast my commander, the Dragon's Lash. I go to combat, and swing with my commander into the Angel player. I get an attack trigger from Ognis, and gain a tapped treasure token, while Chatterfang gives me a tapped squirrel. I did not realize the squirrel would also be tapped. That is interesting. Anyway, damage is good, and the Angel player takes 3. To Darien's turn, and they gain a soldier token from the suspended Banalish commander. Reliquary Tower comes down, and then they cycle Decree of Justice. 5 is into X, and they gain 5 more soldier tokens, and then draw a card once the cycling ability resolves. They move to combat, and the Armor Smith is sent against the Angel player again, and the Angel player takes 3. Over to the Font of Hope, and their turn begins with Sigarda's Splendor triggering, allowing them to draw a card since they had more life than their last noted life total. In combat, they swing Giada at the Darien player and the Angel of Destiny at me again, and I net no life loss. Darien takes 2, and the Angel player gains 8 more life. They pass the turn, and I worry about them getting to the alternate you lose the game condition on that Angel. Cormela's turn sees a mountain into play. They activate their commander for some spell-specific mana and cast Snap, returning their commander to their hand. That is followed by the obligatory board wipe in Blasphemous Act. The Giada player responds with Teferi's Protection, saving their board. Unfortunately, the Darien player and I both lose our board states. I was hoping to use Cherifang a little bit more in this build, but oh well. Ognis returns to the command zone, and Cormela comes back to the battlefield. Akroma's Memorial graces my hand from my draw. I sacrifice my treasure token and use it to help recast my commander. Going to attacks, I swing with my commander into the Cormela player and gain a tap treasure token. They block with their own commander, preventing damage to their face. Darien's turn has another soldier token enter the field. Solemn Simulacrum is cast, and they grab a plains from their deck once it comes into play. Back to the Angel player, who phases back into existence. Sigarda's Splendor draws them a new card, and they cast Archangel of Thune. They gain 1 life from the Splendor, and things aren't looking so good. The Cormela player responds with Call in a Professional, targeting the Angel player's commander, and the Angel player responds with a Generous Gift, targeting the Cormela player's Cascade Bluffs. The Giada player gains 1 life, and I'm sure there's a joke to be made, tongue-in-cheek, about the card names here. The Archangel resolves, and they move to combat. The Angel of Destiny is sent against the Cormela player, and Darien responds with Entrapment Maneuver. The Angel is sacrificed because it's attacking, and the Darien player makes 7 new soldier tokens. At the end of the turn, Cormela casts Village Rites, sacrificing the elfin token they got from the Generous Gift, and drawing 2 cards. Drowned Catacombs hits the field for the Cormela player on their turn, and they pass without casting anything. To my turn, and I get my own Blasphemous Act. I move to attacks, and swing again at the Cormela player, and receive a treasure token. They block with their commander again, and no damage gets through. In the second main, I cast Tome of Legends, and follow that with Swiftfoot Boots. I equip my commander with the shoes, and pass. Another soldier token for Darien on their turn at the upkeep. They cast Deploy to the front, gaining soldier tokens equal to the number of creatures already in play, for a total of 22 on their field. In combat, the available tokens and the Sad Robot all attack the Angel player. Thune is assigned to block a token, gaining some life for the Angel player, but they drop to 34. Back to the Font of Hope, and Splendor triggers, notes a new life total, but no card draw is gained. Their commander is recast, and they gain 1 life. Thune triggers, gaining another counter, and their commander resolves. Archangel of Tithes then hits the stack, and Thune triggers from more life gain thanks to the Splendor. At the end of turn though, the Cormela player flashes back Otherworldly Gaze. They activate their commander, and then cast Dehada's Ploy, netting 2 life and drawing 2 cards, but having to discard 1. Rakdos Charm then hits the stack, with the mode where each creature deals 1 damage to its controller. Darien takes 22, the Angel player takes 2 because of Thune's lifelink pushing the 1 damage from that creature, Cormela takes 1, and I take 1. They end the turn with life totals at 14 for Darien, 34 for the Angel player, 35 for Cormela, and 37 for me. Thune gains a counter for the Angels, and the turn rolls over. Cormela's turn proper sees their commander activated, and a swift casting of River's Rebuke against the Darien player. Their entire board gets bounced of non-land permanents. The Cormela player foretells a card, and passes. I draw Evolving Wilds on my turn. I drop and crack the land, and grab a Snow Mountain into play tapped. Moving to attacks, I swing Ognis into the Cormela player, gaining a treasure, and gaining a counter on the tome. They take 3 without blocks. In the second main, I cast Blasphemous Act, and the board gets wiped. I leave Ognis in the graveyard, and Cormela brings back Discovery and Dispersal to that player's hand when their commander dies. Darien's turn, and another soldier hits the field. Soul Ring then comes back, followed by Mentor of the Meek. Solemn Simulacrum hits the field, and they grab a plains with that trigger, and pay to draw a card with the Mentor. Over to the Font of Hope, and they cast a Felwar Stone. Their commander re-enters the field, gaining them 1 life, and they pass. Cormela's turn sees them cast Discovery to Surveil 2 and draw a card. Kroxa, Titan of Death's Hunger, then comes down, and each of their opponents has to discard a card. I activate the tome in response, drawing a Phyrexian Arena. I then discard Nature's Claim for Croxa's trigger. My opponents also discard cards, and Croxa hits the bin, being sacrificed to its own abilities. Raven Form is then cast on my boots, and I respond by returning Ognis to my hand with Evolution Charm. My turn reveals Indomitable Creativity. I cast Phyrexian Arena for some extra card draw, and follow it up with my commander. I gain another counter on the tome, and move to attacks. I swing my commander into the Angel player, gaining a treasure and a counter on the tome. The Angel player takes 3, and I pass. Back to Darien, and their Benelish commander finally joins the field from exile. A soldier token joins it on the field, and the mentor triggers. The player pays for a new card. Kabira Crossroads drops to the field, and the Darien player gains 2 life. Spear of Heliod comes back down, then followed by a Crusader of Audric. They move to combat, and swing the commander at me, the Sad Robot at the Angel player, and the Mentor at Cormela. I block my attacker with a bird token. The Angel player and Cormela both take damage though, both going down to 29. Back to the Font of Hope, and they drop the plains on the table. Karmic Guide is cast, and when it enters, they return the Archangel of Tithes to the field. Heliod's Intervention then hits the stack, targeting Phyrexian Arena, Darien's Sol Ring, and Spear of Heliod. The targets are destroyed, and they move to combat. Their commander is swung into the Darien player, dealing 2 more commander damage, and they pass. Cormela's turn, and they have Croxa escape from the graveyard. When it enters, I discard a Hellkite Tyrant, not seeing a path to victory with it. My turn gives up a Rakdos Charm. I activate the Tome to draw a card, and get War Cadence. I decide to cast Indomitable Creativity, targeting my treasure token and the Archangel of Tithes. They are sacrificed, and I gain an Idol of Oblivion, while the Angel player gains a gold mirror. Over to Darien, and they move to attacks. The Mentor, Simulacrum, Commander, and Crusader all swing into the Angel player. Karmic Guide intercepts the Crusader and dies. The Angel player takes 9 damage and drops to 21. In the second main, Elspeth Knight Errant is cast. The Planeswalker is activated to make a soldier token, which triggers the Mentor. The Darien player pays to draw the card. Back to the Angel player, and after a few seconds of thinking, they quit the game. To be fair, they did have 0 cards in hand, and it looks like their recursion had run out. Cormela's turn sees Takenuma abandon Mire to the field. Slave of Bolas is cast targeting my commander, and Ognis is brainwashed away. They move to combat, and both creatures are assigned into the Elspeth Planeswalker. Croxa triggers, and I have to discard, binning Akroma's Memorial. The Darien player assigns a token each to the defense of Elspeth, and Elspeth is saved from any damage. At the end of turn, Ognis is sacrificed thanks to the enchantment that took them. I return my commander to the command zone. I draw a Gloom Shrieker on my turn, and the art really needs to be put on a playmat so I can buy one. I cast Grave Upheaval, and return my Hellkite Tyrant into play. I move to attacks, and swing at the Darien player. The dragon connects, dropping them to 8, and I gain their Sad Robot. The turn moves to Darien, and they create a soldier token with Elspeth. Mentor triggers, and they pay to draw the card. A Plains hits the field, and then they cast Slate of Ancestry. Once in play, they activate the slate, and draw 5 cards. Veteran Armorer enters, and they move to attacks. They swing the Mentor, Commander, Crusader, and a token into me, and I take 15, dropping to 22. Tour Cormela, and they cast Crackle with Power, burning out the Darien player and my Hellkite Tyrant. They move to attacks, and Croxa swings. It triggers, and I discard Gloom Shrieker. I then take 6 to the face, and they pass. On my turn, I draw Auron Frostfang. I activate the Tome to draw a card, and gain a Beast Within. Not being in the best position right now, I cast Beast Within on the Croxa, destroying it. I then cast Rakdos Charm to exile my opponent's graveyard, hoping that solves my Titan problem. I pass afterward. To my remaining opponent, and they bounce away my Idol of Oblivion with Wipe Away. Ancestral Visions is put into Exile via Suspend, and Drastic Revelation hits the stack. The Cormela player draws 7 cards, then having to discard 3 at random. A Dimir Aqueduct hits the field, and they bounce Cabal Coffers back to their hand. They go to combat and swing the Beast token at me, and I take 3. My turn brings me Xanagos, the God of Revels. My commander unfortunately now costs 8 to summon, so I activate my Tome to draw a card. I get a treasure map, which isn't too useful. I cast the Auron Frostfang, hoping to increase my card draw, and pass. Cormela's turn has a time counter removed from the Ancestral Vision. They cast Dehada Planeswalker, and once she's in play, they activate her -3 to steal my Frostfang and corrupt it. They swing both creatures in combat, and I take 5 while they draw 2 cards. In the second main, they cast an Elemental Masterpiece, gaining 2 4/4 elemental tokens. Their turn ends, and I gain back my Frostfang. I draw a forest, and play the land. I then cast Treasure Map, still trying for some card draw. I then cast Xanagos, and move to combat. The Frostfang gets buffed, and I risk a swing into the opponent. They intercept my creature with both of their elemental tokens, and all of the creatures end up dying in combat. Cormela has a time counter removed from the visions, and drops an island during their first main phase. They then activate their Planeswalker, corrupting the beast token more somehow, and I lose 2 life and they gain 2 life. They recast their commander, and move to combat. They swing the beast token at me, and I take the 3, dropping to 3. I get 1 more turn, but I don't think it'll matter at this point. My turn comes around and I draw a swamp, and I play it. I cast Idol of Oblivion, and activate the treasure map. I put the Mayhem Devil on the bottom, and then I cast War Cadence. Another time counter is removed from the vision. The Cormela player moves straight to combat, and attacks me with the beast token. I take 3, and lose the game. Good game to my opponents. Alright, so Ognis. I have played the deck and worked on it for about 8 games now, and one thing is perfectly clear. This is not my style of play pattern. Still, the creature works better than I initially thought, but there are clear drawbacks. The treasure entering tapped is a huge one, making the player wait a turn to use the mana outside of things like Seedborn Muse and Amulet of Vigor. Otherwise, Ognis has no evasion, and because she has to attack, this risks the creature greatly in combat. Either of these alone would be okay, but because it has both of these drawbacks, it means you have to build your deck both to protect your commander and the rest of your board state, and be playing for a turn ahead. I mean, more than you usually would anyway. It can be done, but I feel like this would have been so much better if I had access to white. Thank you for tuning in to another casual commander game here on Dirtle Magic. Until next time, stay safe out there.